Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. Today, after the old day job, I am off to check out the new Blumhouse thriller, Drop. Drop is directed by Christopher Landon and it's starring Megan Fahey and Brandon Skoliner. This movie tells the story of a woman who hasn't been on the dating scene for a little bit and decides it is time to get out the house and meet some new people. So she goes out on a date. But wouldn't you know it, while she's on her date, her family is being held hostage by a bad guy who wants her to kill her date. This movie looks like it might be kind of interesting. I know I give Blumhouse a lot of crap for their crap that they make, but I'm giving this movie a fair shot. It does look interesting. My only complaint about this film is I feel like the trailer gives away so much. It pretty much shows you almost every event, beat for beat, for this movie, which makes me wonder, is there anything left to go see at this movie? So that's the question that I'm about to answer, but first, I need to get to the old day job, and then I'm off to check out Drop. Welcome back, just getting home, and guys, I can't believe I'm about to say this about a Blumhouse film. I don't like this movie. So let's get this started, shall we? We're going to get things started with negatives, then move into the positives, to end the video on the ever so important high note. The first thing we're going to talk about is just the trailer for this movie, because I was 110% correct in my intro. The trailer gives away way too many of the exciting points. And in a film like this, where everything takes place in one spot, you really shouldn't have shown any of the excitement and action whatsoever. Because when you get to those points, you know how it's going to play out because you saw it in the trailer, so it takes you right out of the moment, and all the tension is completely gone. And this movie relies very heavily on suspense and tension. So if one of those weren't executed properly, it just takes you out of the moment. And I feel like if you're a person who has not seen the trailer for this movie, you know the description of the movie, don't look up the trailer. If you want to see this movie, try to go in it as blind as possible. Just go off of the description I gave you. It's a date gone wrong, blah, blah, blah. Because yes, they do put some little, I guess you could say, red herrings in the trailer. There's still some parts in it that kind of take you out of the moment, so be very aware of that. Another thing too, the pacing in this film isn't necessarily perfect. I did find myself getting a little bored, a little draggy in some spots where I was just kind of like, come on, let's get it going. But I almost wonder if that was by design, to make you feel like this date wasn't going very well, and maybe that was something that was supposed to add to the tension and all, but I don't know. In my opinion, it felt like it kind of slowed things down a little bit when they were going through some of the awkward conversation moments and all. There were a lot of moments where you're just like, I'm really surprised that he hasn't gotten a little annoyed with this situation, and then it would go into something else, and then everything was fine. But there was those moments where, in all honesty, it does get just a little bit draggy, but then it picks up and everything is fine. It doesn't ruin the movie by any means whatsoever. You'll notice when you get there, it just seems like the pacing is slightly off. Other than that, guys, I really thought this movie was a lot of fun. It has a lot of great tension and suspense. So let's move in to the positives. The first thing I want to talk about is Megan Fahey. She does an outstanding job in this movie. She is our lead. She plays the woman whose kid and a sister are being terrorized at home while she's out on this first date. And she does such a great job with this role. She has a lot of heavy lifting to do with this movie, and she delivers outstanding. Her performance and her character is extremely well-rounded, and I was very entertained by her performance. In fact, I don't think that it could have been handled by anyone else with as much as she did, to be perfectly honest. All in all, guys, I thought that the acting was great throughout the entire film, but the kudos really go to Megan, period, in my opinion. The film also has some really amazing stylistic choices that I really liked. I was honestly worried that we were going to spend most of this movie with a camera over her shoulder so we could watch the text messages pop up on her phone, but the movie does a really cool technique by putting the text on the screen so you, the viewer, can see that rather than just her staring at her phone and looking over her shoulder. And it's not like little bitty subtext at the bottom. They do a really cool way of using a font and everything that kind of blends in with the scenery and all. So it looks like it's supposed to be there, but at the same time, I thought it really helped the moments where you have to see what's going on that phone instead of just looking over her shoulder constantly. So I liked that choice. There's also some other really cool style choices where they show in one scene where they use like all the monitors that are in her home for her security cameras. They use it for a really great method for some tension and all. So there's a lot of stylistic choices that I absolutely love. The cinematography in this film is also outstanding. There's so many different cool shots. There was one in particular that I thought was really cool at the very beginning when she gets to the restaurant, where it's almost like we were the bartender. Rather than the camera following her as she went over to the bar and sat down, she goes over to the bar and sits down, and then the camera starts coming into her like we're the bartender approaching her at the bar. I thought that was a neat little trick. I'm easily entertained, I suppose, but I thought that was a really cool choice. There's also some really neat things that they do with the camera to make you feel like she's isolated. Even though she's surrounded by all of these people, she is completely isolated in that moment because she knows exactly what's going on and what could be the fate of the people around her. All in all, guys, I have to say that this was a fairly tension-filled, stress movie, and I did enjoy it. This movie's rated PG-13 also, so if you got some young ones at home that like a little bit of a tension-filled kind of movie, maybe not necessarily an introduction to horror movies, but maybe your kid is a fan of stuff like that, this is not necessarily a bad movie for them. There wasn't a lot of hardcore violence, nothing that you wouldn't find necessarily in a MCU movie, to be perfectly honest. A little light blood, little light violence, no real horrible subject matter in this. Well, I mean, there is some a little touchy moments in this and all, but all in all, guys, it's a PG-13 movie. Use your best description. It's not appropriate for children under the age of 13. I'm just saying this is not necessarily going to be something that's going to scare the pants off of someone who might be a young horror fan down the road. So all in all, guys, I have to say that this was a fun, enjoyable little suspense movie. But my honest opinion with this is, not necessarily skip it in theaters. If nothing else looks interesting to you, go check this one out. If you're a fan of one place, little tense kind of suspense thrillers, this is a good one. It does kind of turn that whole idea a little bit on its edge, on its ear by being, in this situation, heavily populated with people. I liked it. I liked where things were going. I liked the way they utilized it. So go check this one out in theaters. But in all honesty, guys, I would say that this would be a really good movie to be on a streaming service, to be perfectly honest. There's not a whole lot of great stuff that shows up on Netflix. And to be perfectly honest, this would have been an absolutely perfect movie to show up on a streaming service. That doesn't mean don't go see it in theaters. I'm just saying it would have worked out just fine there. And I think that it might have pulled in more viewers if it was on a streaming service, just because of, Blumhouse and all. Well, okay, guys, that's all I have for you today. This is a solid little get out there and check it out, or maybe just stream it at home kind of movie. So if you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up if you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. I'm gonna.